Welcome to the JOYinc experience, where we explore real, raw, radically truthful, radically vulnerable conversations with ordinary but extraordinary people. All topics, no agendas. This is a baptism in the Logos. Again, on today's episode, Scott DePaolo, Scott DePaolo Horsemanship, also the IMHA, International Mustang Horse Association, and Live Equestrian. But more importantly, Scott has been a 20-plus year emotional support animal to me.
And a great friend.
And a
To
great
both-
friend.
both ways, for
Great
that
friend.
round.
It was I think the friendship was kind of one way for a while.
Yeah, Sherilyn forced it on me.
Yeah.
I love that story, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know what, to be honest with you now, and because this is all honesty, sometimes I call her and tell her thank you. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call her, Sherilyn, I just got to tell you, I'm heading back from Gig Harbor. I was up at Lazy K. I got to thank you.
It's kind of like betting on the underdog, though.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know if this horse is ever going to win a race.
Yeah. That's how you win big.
Yeah, you bet on the underdogs.
One year I was in Elko, and it was over Super Bowl weekend, because Elko was the week before Super Bowl, and you get to go home on Sunday. You go home on Sunday because it's over Saturday to the Elko Cowboy Poetry Gathering, and we'd done poetry all, and we hadn't really gambled, but that was back in the Jury Hall days, so we'd stood around the roulette table and the blackjack table some and this and that, and he'd won a bunch of money and taken us to dinner. Well, I got pretty close to betting, but I thought if I was going to bet on a football team this week, I would bet on the underdog, and I should have, because it was like 26-1. I mean, it was just like out of this world. Well, guess who won that time? I didn't bet. I thought, I'm going to save my money. Shouldn't have saved it. Should have bet. Because the underdog sometimes wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think I'm too arrogant, too cocky to ever have thought of myself as the underdog. But as I've reflected back over the last, that 20 years, I felt like the underdog
Yeah.
a lot of times.
Well, I wouldn't have thought of you as an underdog, but as we're talking right now, I would have thought of a bad bet, like buying a cruddy horse, How's this going to work out, But it worked out pretty darn good.
It's like a counterfeit horse, you're like,
well, I think you got one.
You sold me a counterfeit horse. Just for reference, for those of you listening, a counterfeit horse that aren't familiar with horse terminology, a counterfeit horse is just a horse that has a lot of, how would you describe a counterfeit horse? I would say it's like some major psychological personality flaws that are nearly insurmountable.
Yeah.
When you're trying to train them. They're like almost untrainable.
Yeah. Like one you just plain can't win on.
Yeah.
And I don't mean win a competition, because you won some competitions on him. Not very many, but some. But I mean, you can't win the day. There's no win in that fight. The fight's there every day.
I think if you subscribe to the flavor of horsemanship that you and I subscribe to, where, like I described yesterday, a horse is with you, right? It's like, first you get with the horse, then the horse gets with you, and then you guys get together, right?
Yeah.
Like a dance. And I think with Swagger, he, I don't feel like I feel like I had to get with him the whole time. I don't think he ever tried to get with me, and we certainly didn't go anywhere together. It looked like we were going places together, but if you know anything about horses and those relationships, is that there was no wiggle room for, him holding up his end of the bargain. I had to make sure I had to hold him the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of
It's like
there was
dancing.
a lot of fight in the middle.
It's like dancing with a drunk lady. You know, you just got.
That's me.
You gotta just make up for it the whole time.
A drunk lady that's kicking you the whole time. I remember one time.
A mean drunk lady.
Remember that about 4 or maybe 5. I don't know how many years into Fiesta, but we were down there and he just sold out and headed down that arena, and at the other end of the arena by everybody, he didn't even slow down. He just went right through all them panels. That was a day.
I was getting off of him, and I just hooked a rope and pulled it around his rump, and he certainly did not like that experience and decided there was quite a few times where he decided leaving was better than staying. Most of the time when I was sitting on his back.
Yeah.
So many lessons to be learned in that, though. For those of you listening that want to come hang out with myself or Scott, and he just mentioned Fiesta as a celebration of the horse. It's a ranch roping event, but more than that, it's a event where a bunch of like-minded, just good soul of the earth. Is that the word?
People?
Salt of the earth people?
Yeah.
Salt of the earth people get together and have campfires and do some camping. Camping's free. You can look it up at fiestaroping.com, but it's the second weekend in September, or the weekend after Labor Day, every year. Right now it's being held in Tye Valley, California at the Wasco County Fairgrounds.
Oregon.
What did I say?
I said California, but
I
wouldn't.
Tye Valley, Oregon at the Wasco County Fairgrounds.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful location, and if you're fantasize about the cowboy world or watched Yellowstone one too many times, you can come experience it in real life. Yeah. And it's a great spot for beginner ropers who have never ranch roped before and want to get some exposure to it. It's a great place where you can have some more experienced folks, help teach you. And Scott puts on some clinics, pre-fiesta clinics for beginner ropers. Ranch roping is not what you typically see. It's a much slower, calmer, safer type roping that you'd see more out on working ranches and whatnot. So come join us, Fiesta 2026 at the Wasco County Fairgrounds.
Yep.
Oregon.
Yeah.
That's my brain working faster than my mouth. So.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't like that.
Mine works slower sometimes and does that. Hey, what's in the news this week? This is like talk about everything and anything.
Oh, there's stuff I can't talk about that I'd rather.
You got some things on there
that I can't talk about
on the news?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I don't know about those things yet.
Yeah.
I've been in the dark for a while.
I think if I was going to speak about what's on the JOYinc news or the Clif Peterson news this week, it would be, I think I've been experiencing some spiritual attacks and, as I've sort of recommitted my faith, I don't know the right words, but I'm a follower of Jesus, and I think there's power in saying those things out loud.
Yeah.
And I think I spent a lot of years probably not saying it out loud, and I've really just invited him into been intentional about inviting him into my inner world and my space and what I'm wrestling with as a man and as a leader and as a husband and as a father and certainly in the business and just because I think my success was riding on my efforts for a long time, and I think I'm at the end of my capacity.
Yeah.
And success in business and as a parent and as a husband and so I'm trying to find a healthier path going forward. It really has been this path that I got set on when I started JOYinc was thinking that I could go pursue joy in business, and I still use that. I think we can move towards joy, but I think more than anything, joy is pursuing us, moving towards us, and I think to see JOYinc thrive in the future is going to be not reliant on my efforts, but recognizing the author and perfecter of our faith.
I think he's the author of joy.
I think so. Yeah.
If you pursue it,
yeah,
you're running towards it.
But I've just felt those, spiritual attacks and internal relationships within the company, and certainly with family stuff that's going on, and but in the midst of all of those things, I've seen some real grace and Christ in the midst of it, which I think is part of all of that journey. I feel, I don't know, a couple years ago, I think I felt like I was kind of at the top of the world, and I think we have those cycles, and I feel like I'm in the thick of it right now, and I think when you're in the thick of it, you can't exactly see clearly or articulate clearly.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I'm going through one of those seasons right now. I guess one of the things I'll talk about is like, it's been on my heart for, how long it's been on my heart for, seeking reconciliation, with, certainly with Becky and Dean and the extended family. And, this stuff that's been going on has given us a window to, sit down and have some of those conversations of what, repentance looks like, and what reconciliation looks like, and what forgiveness looks like, and offer some of that. And again, like, it's got to be Christ, got to be God doing the work, because if you'd have asked me even a couple months ago, I would have been like, I can't see how it would ever come about. And I think that's a telltale sign of God working, right? Is something's happening where you're like, I couldn't have orchestrated this. And I've seen that in all aspects of my life, but just right now, that's huge. I tell you, I'm meeting with both of the pastors from the church from 20 years ago.
Yeah, you were saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going to be pretty impactful.
Yeah.
Are you meeting with them separate or together?
Yeah, I meet with them separate, but both on Wednesday.
Were they pretty, were they positive about meeting with you?
They both were.
Oh, yeah.
I explained the context and where I was at spiritually, and filled them in a little bit on some of the church leadership where I'm at right now. And our efforts to find some healing and some freedom and reconciliation and whatnot. And so I think they were both encouraged to hear that.
Yeah.
I've probably been in their prayers once or twice over the last 20 years.
So. You'd sure hope so.
Yeah. Some people pray, some people don't,
Yeah, well, I know, but we hope the pastors that have led us and guided us, and especially when, we're in their flock and they lose us, that they would pray. Why pray for a believer?
I think there's some people who think that I wasn't a believer. So.
Yeah, you might have gotten prayed for a lot.
I wrote a letter to my kids just over a year ago on, I don't think I've been the spiritual leader that I could have been. I think I was pretty intentional with our Word of the Week studies and stuff that. But just, I think I allowed the division to justify me not taking spiritual leadership a lot of times.
Maybe the same level.
And just divorces make you feel crippled, right? And actually the pastors from Harborview have both reaffirmed that nobody can replace me as a spiritual leader of my family.
Yeah.
And that was encouraging and convicting at the same time. And so I wrote that letter to my kids, and in there's a whole section on being accused of being a heretic. And the anti-authoritarian, rebellious side of me probably is more excited about that than I should be, but just being vulnerable, you know.
I've been there, man.
I don't know if we want to post this episode. But in all reality, like, to be vulnerable and to really share what you're wrestling with spiritually, or, you know, about scripture or the Bible or who God is and how he works, and for goodness sakes, like, the entire Bible is filled with people who wrestled with those questions of God and you know, made all sorts of mistakes. I think most of the people in the Bible that are held in high esteem, if they were going to a modern American Christian church, would probably be labeled a heretic for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, where would all these guys sit with their whole line of wives and stuff?
Well, not
and
that, amongst other things. Yeah,
right?
It probably would be would make some division in the church.
Yeah, it'd raise some eyebrows, you know. The prayer chain would get going, and prayer / gossip chain, something like that.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Anyways, that's what I'm.
Well, so what do you think?
That's what's on the. You asked me what's on the news, and you got.
I know. I got what's in your life. That's okay. I've heard that before.
Oh. What do you want to talk about? Politics?
No. I was wondering, because I've kind of like it when I worked for the Scouts. I'd ask those guys that showed up every week what was in the news and kind of get my news brief. And then I don't meet up with a lot of people no more that live in the world as much like that. So I don't know. I just was wondering.
Oh.
I would feel like I was kind of isolated the last 3 days, you know, really, because I was closed in for 4 days anyways, and doing the clinics and stuff. And I just kind of wondering.
Trump turned the front lawn of the White House into a giant circus.
In a good way or a bad way, do you think?
I think, I mean, the brush it's being painted with in the news is that it's negative. I mean, you know, Biden did all sorts of trans and drag queen, had rainbow lights on the White House and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Like, he's just, I think, you know, there's a very wide gap between the business of politics and people, average people. And I think anything that government can do, people in the government can do to bridge that gap can be helpful.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it was a political stunt as much as it was just Trump being Trump and being a showman. And if it connected with the people who are flipping the bill for the political experiment that we're all living in,
yeah,
you know, more power to it. But to your point, I don't I'm not the best person to come to for local for news, national news or global news. I get little bits and pieces here, but kind of like we talked about yesterday morning and training your social media. Like I would say that a lot of my news comes from stuff that was coming through my feed. But if you block negative,
Yeah.
you end up blocking most of the news.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm pretty diligent about, stuff that if it feeds into a feeling of division or divisiveness, or if it feeds into anger, or if it feeds into discontentedness, or if it feeds the black wolf, right? If it feeds the negative wolf in your life,
Yeah.
that's kind of a very simple explanation of that discipline. Is like if I see a social media post that's feeding the dark wolf, then I shut it off. I block it permanently.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, block. There's like, you can block this for a month, or you can hide this for some. It's like, no, like I'm just done with this. Like I don't ever want to see this again.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because the algorithm will try to the algorithm will go fishing. Right. It's like, oh, this guy's 46. We know that he's clicked on these things before, and we know that this and that, and then they'll like throw stuff out there to try to suck you into the clickbait, and so I think it has to be a regular practice. I think I said 3 months the other day, but it might be better to do it once a month or every other week or something like that, or just have it be a continuous practice where it's always in your mind, like that's coming in through my eyes. I'm reading that thing or watching that clip, or seeing those images and questioning what wolf that's feeding.
Well, what you feed grows. Doesn't matter how you slice it. Doesn't matter if you want to justify it or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're feeding that thing, it's growing in you, and it'll wreck you. Whatever, or it'll make you too, right? You can be made by what you consume, and so it's pretty important to keep track of that. And I don't know that a lot of folks are keeping good enough track of it, and that's so handy when you say it knows if it knows you're a guy, you're in trouble.
Oh yeah,
people look at my phone, they're like, what's that? Oh, I'm a guy, right? Don't worry about it, get rid of it. So.
Yeah, I think on the adverse of that is not just spending time blocking the stuff you don't want to see, but like have all this pile of books here with authors that you and I have read a good chunk of what's up here.
Yeah.
And to go through your social media, find the pages of the authors that have actually made a positive influence on your life, and intentionally follow them and like posts. And you can train your algorithm in a positive direction, not just block the stuff you don't want to see. Because then even like, I don't know, I have 2,000 friends on Facebook now or something like that, but it's like I really only want to see stuff from like a dozen people.
Right.
And so other than that, I use it for, following leadership pages or following author pages. Like I see stuff from Jim Rohn pages all the time, or Ray Dalio or whatnot, that is, encouraging. So.
Yeah. There's a lot of encouraging stuff out there.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And you ought to promote it. We ought to promote it, because not only when we promote that stuff, when we promote the positive talk, the guy that's putting the right stuff out there, the gals that are talking about the right kind of thing, then other folks in our feed see it. If you wanted to make a difference, you would try to promote them to where the algorithm is going, here, we'll send this back out. We'll send that back out. And then other folks are getting to have that choice.
Yeah. This is that book I was telling you about. Scott did a clinic this weekend at JOYinc. Overcoming
fear and building confidence.
Yeah.
Courage is a good one for it.
Courage is calling.
Yeah. And Ryan Holiday, he's a great book. I know I've read at least 3 of his books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a good book on courage, Courage is Calling, subtitle Fortune Favors the Brave by Ryan Holiday. Great little book. Easy listen, easy read.
All of his books are good,
Yeah.
and his
Got the collection.
website and all that are great too. Really good, and listen to him on other people's podcasts and stuff. He always has something good to say. He's a stoic philosopher of our day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I get an email every morning from him, or two, the Daily Stoic, and then he has one called the Daily Dad. It's an encouragement for fathers.
Yeah.
It's ones that I haven't blocked yet.
How old are his kids, do you think? They're not very old because
no.
he didn't used to have it.
Yeah, they're probably in between 5 and 10 or something like that. I don't know.
Or he realized he was just like a lot of us and didn't realize when they were little that he needed to have an impact, and then grew himself into the Daily Dad.
Yeah.
That's significant. Good for him.
For sure.
I think he moved to Texas, didn't he? Doesn't he live in Texas?
Yeah. I'm going to go to his bookshop.
Yeah, you were telling me that. That's super cool.
Yeah.
I remember listening to him on his podcast maybe or something when he first moved there, and he was sorting through. He was thinking of himself as a farmer, I think. And it's like, wait a minute, dude, you're not a farmer.
He bought a little farm. I think just to be, it's in Bastrop, Texas. It's called the Painted Porch. It's the name of
the bookstore.
The bookstore.
Yeah.
It's this little teeny town. Bastrop is a really small town. They bought this old rundown building and remodeled it.
I can envision how super cool it'd be if you just walk in there and there's a little like a rock gut coffee pot in the corner, and you go in there and he's there, and you sit down and visit for a couple hours with him, just about everything. And then you just go like you'd known him your whole life. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys like that. Would be awesome. To hang out and visit with.
I'll invite him on the podcast.
I'd listen to that podcast.
Yeah. What's going on in Scott's world? You got Home Ranch, Scott DePaolo Horsemanship, IMHA.
Yeah, lots of stuff, really. And
what's the big new stuff coming up?
Big new stuff? Oh, you know what? Nothing's new this time. I think actually sometimes you can't do new. You just got to get into the groove and finish what you're doing. So I was just working on my goal / review preview manual, and just thinking about a lot of things I need to get finished, because I got a lot of open loops right now. And open loops cause stress and anxiety. And so, sometimes when we go through those things in life that make us think, and when we're teaching those kind of things, sometimes we're preaching to the choir, so to speak. Sometimes we learn the most. And I think this time I really was thinking about some of the ways that I can cut the stress out of my life, the anxiety that's kind of like just that underlying kind of like thing that just kind of doesn't ensue joy. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's a little take you out of the game kind of thing. It's not a big deal. Everybody has it, right? Your shop's a mess. I haven't straightened my shop up since I've been moved. I just unloaded everything. I'd like to have a really organized shop, even though it's smaller, My tack room's not set up, so it's kind of like this and that. I want to have a really nice tack room, so when people show up and I look at their tack and I see that they got they need a new latigo, or they need a new, like a string on a latigo, because right there, that could be a real dangerous thing. I'd say, hey, let's go fix your tack. We go back to my tack room. We go in there, I fix their tack, and they wander through all my gear, because I got tons of really super great gear.
Yeah. And
they look at it, ask me questions and all that, and I can add value to folks that way. I'd like to get that done, because that's one of those things that, some things everything compounds. So this thing's compounding negatively for me right now. But if I just tipped that point and got that tack room cleaned up, it would be a positive compounding. So it's not like, it's like good bang for the buck. You get double for your trouble.
Yeah.
So.
It reminds me of Jordan Peterson's Beyond Order book, where one of the rules talks about the messes in your life, and how, like, we'll use this room as example. Everything in this room is having a conversation with
you. Yeah.
whether it's in order or not in order. Right. So like what can be seen on the camera is pretty organized. I got all these books and they're in alphabetical order, and got some books facing out that are, been important to me and I wanted to showcase and whatnot. But then down here on the lower shelf is kind of a mess that nobody can see, but it's still talking to me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, should we have a cabinet? Should we organize? Should this and that? And like, this is just one room in my life, right? And I got the whole office out there that's, never been really brought up to par or remodeled, or it doesn't really showcase who we are as a company, and the outside of the building, landscaping outside, and then that's just here at the JOYinc World Headquarters.
Yeah.
Our house that, there's. Did you read Beyond Order?
No.
Chapter in there. It was a follow-up to 12 Rules for Life.
I read 12 Rules for Life.
The chapter in this Beyond Order here is rule number 8. Try to make one room in your house as beautiful as possible.
That's really super cool.
Yeah. It's a great rule.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've done that. I mean, I think if I've thought about like what's the most beautiful room in my house, and it'd probably be my office, just because I resonate with Jim Rohn when he says, I haven't read all the books in my library, but I feel smarter when I'm in the presence of my library.
Well, I love that. It can be true. I got a great book, really good library, really good. Not a lot of these more modern books, because I listened to a lot of them, because I was never really a great reader. I listened to a lot of them. I don't buy them all. I know you kind of, if you listen to one, you buy it also.
I listen. Yeah, I mean, most of my books over the last 20 years have been audiobooks, but I buy them just to show off.
Yeah, why not?
So.
But I have a heck of a great cowboy library, horseman's library.
Yeah, you got all the classics.
Well, it depends on what the classics are. If the classics are Think Harmony with Horses, an educational book on horsemanship, yeah, I do got all the classics. I got some really amazing classics. I got some that are like the best book I've ever read on horsemanship is by Franz Maringer, who's an Olympic, I think he's an Australian Olympic coach, and it's called Horses Were Meant to Be Horses. And they were, and I think I looked that book up not too long ago, and the place I found it was $800 for that book. So it was a good one. And I got
out of print.
Yep. And it is amazing book.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got another book that's super great. And it was signed by Arnold Rojas, and it's These Were the Vaqueros.
Yes.
And that's an expensive book. And then when you get it signed, and the library threw it out, and a friend of mine bought it for me, and you open up the cover, and it's signed. It says, to Clackamas County Library. They sold it in a used book sale. My buddy knew I liked that kind of stuff, bought it for like 25 cents. And
oh,
gave
my
it to
goodness.
me. But it's a classic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is a classic.
Coming Out of the Ice is out of print. Those are $70, $80 now on eBay.
Yeah, and that was the story of one guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Victor Herman. It's a book that Jim Rohn recommended in one of his books or lectures or whatnot. And if you haven't read Coming Out of the Ice, it's a very powerful story about a boy who was born in America, but he was born into a Russian family here, and his dad worked for the Ford Motor Company, and they opened up a plant over in Russia. And so because his dad was from there and spoke Russian, they asked him if he would go work over there, so he did. And the boy got involved, and he was in his late teens, and got involved in like skydiving and all kinds of boxing and all sorts of stuff. And he set the record at one point for the highest skydive, which was like at the time was like, I think 60,000 feet or something like that. And the Russians were very, prideful of their, national accomplishments. And so they asked him to say that he was a Russian because then they would hold the record. But he was like, I'm not, I'm an American. And they were like, no, we want you to say that you're Russian. We want you to sign this thing so then we can, have the claim to fame, sort of thing. And he's like, I'm not, I'm an American. And they threw him in jail. And so it's the story of him I think he spent 18 years in the Russian gulags.
Yeah.
Survived by eating rats and just horrendous stories. And even after he got out, he was like lived in exile and like a chop out, like in the frozen tundra, and ended up getting married, and they had a baby, and the baby almost starved. And anyways, it goes all the way through till he makes it all the way back to America, and then he eventually got his daughters over here. I think his wife died. I don't think his wife ever made it over here, but just a story of human resilience and endurance. And I think any young person in America should have to read books like that, so they have a perspective on the fact that they won the lotto.
Yeah. Not just the cosmic lotto, the world lotto.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's blessed.
I was in Costco the other day, and my receipt was like, $243.43 and something like that. It was like 43, and the gal was like, oh my gosh, you should go buy a lotto ticket. And I looked her in the eye and I said, I go, ma'am, I was born in America. I already won the lotto.
Yeah.
I don't need to go buy myself a lottery ticket. Yeah. But that's a really powerful story.
Yeah, I seem to recall a really kind of an amazing piece of that about him. They were trying to kill him somehow, and they made him load a train with logs or something like that.
They would make him during World War II, I think it was that he was there during World War II, and if you remember, Russia was our ally. So a couple crazy stories. That one you're talking about is they were having them cut trees into certain lengths, big poles, 12-foot poles or something like that, and then they would load him on these rail cars, and they were trying to kill him, and they left him out there by himself to load this rail car, and he was too tough to die, and he ended up loading an entire rail car by himself of these trees. But they would have these guards out there in the woods watching them, and one story from the book that was almost brought me to tears was he walked by two of the guards, and they were eating Diddy Moore's beef stew and Campbell pork and beans, which were American canned food. And he didn't have any communication to the outside world. And so all he knew is that he was imprisoned by these people, and he's walking by them, and they have American rations, American food. And he was so confused, how are these people that are imprisoning me eating American food? He had no idea that the Americans were allied with Russia during World War II and all this sort of stuff. It's just wild. While they're committing all of these atrocities against, humanity by forced labor camps and stuff like that. Pretty wild.
Cool.
So this episode is sponsored by Diddy Moore's beef stew and Campbell pork and beans. I don't support either of those big food conglomerates, but good baked beans aren't bad.
From the raw. Good baked beans from the raw.
With some frozen rat to wash it down.
I haven't made, when I was on the ranch, we'd get pinto beans, and it was pinto beans, some onions, and garlic. And we had a recipe at the time where we could quick cook them. But we would cook them all weekend long, but we'd get them quick cooked. And we'd eat a lot of beans with a lot of things for a while. I just got into making beans, but that just plain like that.
Beans are so healthy for you, all the fiber in them and whatnot.
They're good for your heart, for
Oh,
your especially for your cholesterol. They're good for your guts. They are good. Probably better than rice and stuff, but probably similar in maybe what you could use as a base for a lot of foods.
Yeah.
I don't eat any white food.
No white food.
I'm philosophically opposed to most white food, except on certain occasions.
You might have to
eat
explain white food. That's not a racist.
Yeah, it's not a racist comment at all. But sugar, flour, still drink milk. I still eat a little sugar and flour on 2 occasions. These are important occasions to.
You don't have to drink white milk. You can drink chocolate milk.
Oh, I do drink chocolate milk. Brown milk's good for you. It's the white milk that ain't so good for you. But if my mother or my wife cook anything with sugar or flour in it, I will eat moderate amounts. And of course, you have to eat good pasta once in a while, but always out of Europe. Always Italian pasta.
No
American-made pasta.
Is it glyphosate? Mm-hmm. No Roundup in your pasta.
Well, not just Roundup. There's some other genetic modifications it sounds like we've done that have changed flour around, and Europe still has it be illegal. But I wonder, we ship stuff all over the world. How do we know they're not getting our flour and making it into their pasta and feeding it back to us?
I think, if you trust the labeling, they have to, it has to have country of origin on it.
Well, you say that about trusting the labeling thing, and I do trust the labeling thing, but over the last 5 or 6 years, I've got to where I don't trust the label. Because the label now there's a trickery that they're doing. The trickery that they're doing is if the highest amount of an ingredient in the product has to be put on the front part of the label. It goes in levels. So if it's bread, it's going to be flour, then maybe sugar, then maybe salt, then maybe oil. But what they've determined they could do legally is put here'd be a recipe for something. It would say flour, and then it might say white sugar, brown sugar, and sugar from honey. So it doesn't have to, but it adds up to way more than the flour. It doesn't have to go on the front. One thing's on the front. I should have said like zucchinis, right?
Yeah.
Zucchini's a great vegetable. It's really good for you. But then below it, it says it would have white sugar, flour, brown sugar, sugar modified and synthesized from, I don't know.
From the monk fruit.
Something bad.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have to be on the top of the list anymore, but you're getting all that shit.
Yeah, I think that manipulation's been going on for a long time. There's no the verbiage on the labeling and what can be called, one of the things that really annoys me, especially when it comes to a company that is producing healthy food, quote unquote healthy food, and they'll list natural flavorings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see natural flavorings. I want to see what you're actually putting in it. Is it raspberry juice, or is it some chemical cocktail to make it taste like raspberries? Don't put natural flavorings on there. Yeah. What are you doing? So I have a promise. This episode is sponsored by Ice Cream for Pears. Someday I'll be monetized by the companies that I like, but Ice Cream for Bears is amazing. It's milk, cream, raw honey. The vanilla one is vanilla.
Yeah.
And then egg yolks.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's all there. And
That's
it's right on the ingredients.
Yeah. Yep. From grass-fed,
And it's at the grocery store.
Yeah, grass-fed, grass-finished cows.
Yeah.
It's at Fred Meyer.
That's good to
Costco
know.
had it, actually. Costco had some little Sunday cups or something. Had some more stuff in there, but they have a coffee one and chocolate one and stuff like that. But
we're all eating better, trying to. Living longer now than ever before, but more bad stuff than ever before too.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily the bad stuff that's killing us as much as I love what Casey Means says in her book. Drawing a blank. It's up here somewhere. Where's the M section? Right over here. Is Casey Means' book on there?
I don't know.
Good Energy. It's right in the middle. That blue, kind of the teal label.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Casey.
It's not necessarily bad nutrition, but it's over nutrition. I mean, I'm probably 40 pounds overweight right now.
Yeah.
And I know my weight's fluctuated because of all my, fasting and this and that over the last 4 years. And I think that our culture and this whole 3 meals a day thing is craziness. Like, I'm fasting today just because I need to get back in the habit, and I feel so good when I'm fasting. And giving your body that time to reset. And I think Dr. Pompa's, I met Dr. Pompa a couple weeks ago at the Altar Call event down in Los Cabos. And, his whole program is intermittent fasting, extended fasts, and then feasting, right? Which he'll have, he recommends a feast day every week. But then he also recommends doing multiple 2 or 3 to 4 day fasts, get into a full autophagy. They actually, I learned some things at his seminar as well about doing partial fasting, where, you limit your, calories to, 500 calories a day or something like that. And he said after 2 or 3 days of partial fasting, you actually trigger the same type of autophagy and stuff like that. So I think I might play around with that a little bit is do some just partial fast days. But yeah, I mean, I think he had all these testimonies of, people going on these, really extreme fast, medically supervised fast of, 20 days, 30 days, 40-day fasts and stuff like that. And completely eliminating their cancer tumors and completely reversing, diabetes and all this kind of stuff, simply just using fasting, which doesn't cost anything. It actually saves you a bunch of money because if you don't eat for 40 days, then you save all the money you would have spent on food for 40 days.
Well,
and it's wildly healthy for you.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we're fasters.
When are you and me going to do a 40-day?
I don't know if I'm ready up for a 40-day. The longest I've ever done is a 10-day. And we intended on doing an 8-day. And we got to 8 days. And
you and me?
No.
Oh.
It was with Doolin O'Connor.
Oh.
I had done a talk to a bunch of teenage kids talking about learning to endure and being able to put yourself in really hard situations. And I asked those kids if any of them had ever fasted and gone without food. Well, I was a wrestler in high school, so I did that quite a little bit. Well, none of them had ever gone 24 hours without food. And it's really kind of caught me off guard. And Doolin and I were talking and this and that. And Doolin had a little paunch, a pretty big paunch, and needed to lose a little bit of that and was happy to try something. And I wanted to step up and step out because I had bragged that I had been a faster. Well, I had been, but it had been years ago. And this would have been maybe COVID, maybe a little bit before COVID was when that kind of started, that 10-day fast was. And I'm like, let's go 8 days. Just see if we can do 8 days. And when we got to 8, we carried it on to 10. That's the longest one I've done. But you get to a point, everybody thinks, well, I can't go like that, and yeah, sure you can if you have a weak mind, because by about 12 hours in, you get what you call hangry and you start taking it out on everybody around you. And that's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
You can't handle it going without.
I've done, a few 100 days of fasting over the last 4 years, and full 30-hour periods, alternate day type fasting, or 3-day fast, 5-day fast. I've done a couple 7 days and 10 days, and I did that 14-day.
Yeah.
Water fasting, and I'm fasting today. I don't feel like it affects my mood or treatment of other people. Maybe a handful of times where I didn't prepare for it.
Yeah.
You know, I think it matters how you go into it and your, your mindset. One thing I've never tried, because I'm not a sit still kind of guy. I'm always driving. I don't like feeling unproductive. But Dr. Alan Goldhammer, is an advocate for especially extended fasts should be done at rest, right? And mental rest. So like, I think, well, I can fast because I'm just sitting at my desk, but then I'm like mentally engaged for 10, 12 hours and processing information and making decisions. And your brain uses massive amount of glucose.
Yeah.
And I think it would probably be healthier for me. Even if I did it at the beginning, it's harder to start on a weekend because there's usually social events and stuff like that going on. But I think if I started on a Friday morning, the first day is usually not that bad. Usually the second day kind of, and, planned it out where I could just be unplugged mentally and not have, a pile of chores or anything like that. Like Alan Goldhammer recommends, like, basically bed rest, getting into a fast to get your body in like an optimum state. Cause like sometimes I'll still try to do my hot yoga, or I'll try to do a ruck, or, do some workout or do chores around the place or whatever. And then you end up burning more lean muscle mass than you do anything else. And so, all of that, really matters. I think I could imagine Jesus spending 40 days in the wilderness fasting. I doubt that he was like, running 10 miles a day or whatever in his, his Hoka sandals. Do you think he had Hoka sandals?
Hoka?
Yeah, those are the shoes. He's running shoes.
No. I think he might have had.
I think he had sandals.
Yeah, but they wouldn't have been Hokas.
But I could imagine him spending a lot of time at rest for those 40 days.
Yeah, I envision him sitting on a rock on the top of a mountain, looking out over the whatever,
You ever fantasize about going into the wilderness with your bedroll and just
absolutely
in the sagebrush? I envision sagebrush.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and going on a vision quest of some sort, because that would be what I used to be into. What is something Brown Jr. Tom Brown Jr. Years and years ago, before I had my maybe my second, maybe my third, whatever, coming to Jesus, I was a very hardcore studier of Tom Brown Jr., who was Primitive Living Skills, and he came from the New Jersey. He was his best friend was a boy that was like his grandfather was a Native American from, I think, probably the Apache tribe or something like that. Well, that man came and lived with him, and Tom Brown Jr. and his best friend learned the ways of the Native American from the grandfather, and then it's just his life. He spent his whole life living like this, and become like a tracker. Like, he's one of the top trackers in the world, and does clinics all over the place, and this and that and the other. But he taught a lot about that. And so I've wondered about going on. I've hoped to go on a longer excursion vision quest like that. I tried to get lost a couple of times, so I couldn't get out of the woods. And it's hard to get lost when you're trying. Seem like you always know where you're going. You know how to get back.
When you're blessed with a good sense of direction.
So, yeah, especially in the woods. I can find my direction in the woods. I have a trouble finding my direction nowadays, not in the woods, without my phone, and I can go anywhere. You said that you didn't think that fasting ever changed your mood or the way you treated other people.
Oh, I said I think it did, and I don't think it. I mean, that's just my perspective. I guess I'd have to talk to the other people to figure out if.
Well, I think it does change a lot of people's, because they don't have good mental management. But I would tell you, when you said that, I thought, well, every time I fast, it changes my mood and changes the way I treat other people. But to be honest with you, it's for the good. I feel I really, every time, like you and I've talked, that if you knew you had to do something like, I don't know, teach or a lot of different things. Now, I didn't do that this weekend, and I don't usually do it. Maybe do a speech or something where I really got to be in tune, where I want to be like right on. A 2-day fast will put you right on in a way that far surpasses being filled. And, you go to the steakhouse and you eat all you can. You stop by and get ice cream and all that. Mm-hmm. Your mind's so mushy after all that, where when you're fasting, when I fast, I'm right on.
Yeah, for sure. 2 days, 3 days, you'd be like mentally locked in.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned that you save money. Over 40 days, you'd save money. But you know what I love best about fasting in a lot of ways is the time saving. When I fast, I get a ton more done. I mean, number one, you're revved and you got more energy and you know what to do with. And you're bright-eyed all the time. Yeah. And I can fast from coffee along with food and just be like wired. But the other thing is you start burning that fat. That fat when you start burning your fat cells, it's like a burn. You're like on fire.
Sure.
It's good.
Ketones.
Yeah. So there's a lot of positive to all that.
No, for sure. People, I got to where the team here at Joy would ask me, they're like, "Are you fasting?" Because they knew I don't drink caffeine, but I would just be like amped. And they would be like, "Clif's fasting again." So I guess in that regard, they did notice it in a positive way. I think I was thinking about it in a negative context, but
yeah. I get really truthful. I get hard for people to handle, I think. Like, I know that's the way it is my wife and some of the other folks that have been around me. Because I just went on a 40-day intermittent fast. Intermittently fasted for 100 days at a time. Remember, during Lent?
Yeah.
You were kind of involved in all that, too.
I did a bunch of the 3 days with you.
Well, that was every week I fasted for 100 hours.
Yeah.
And I'd just it's like people are like, settle down. What is wrong with you? It's like, get out of my way.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. If there's folks out there who are feeling, sluggish or fuzzy-minded or cloudy-minded or whatnot, and you're looking for some clarity and looking for some energy, just try some fasting. It's the cheapest prescription out there.
Yeah.
From Dr. Scott and Dr. Clif here.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, neither of us are doctors.
I am a PhD, though. I own post-hole digger from Malala Tractor and Implement.
Yeah. Dug a few post holes in your day, huh?
Not as many as I probably should have over the years. So.
What are you reading right now?
Oh, man, I am fired up about that horse science book. I bought it today. As soon as I get out in the truck and hit the road before I hit the highway.
New Martin Black and
yeah, but I thought Martin Black had wrote part of it, but he hadn't. I think he helped Dr. Stephen write that book, but it doesn't have Martin in it.
Is it the one that I sent to you?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I couldn't find that, and you found it, and I put the exact. I hope it's not a different book than what they were talking about the other day, but it came out December 5th. 2025, so I felt like it was his newest book because that really wasn't that long ago.
This one.
Yeah.
The Horse Brain
Science.
Horse Brain Science.
Yeah.
The Neuroscience of Ethical Horsemanship by Dr. Stephen Peters. It's pretty cool. Just the progress of taking, can you imagine some Genghis Khan or Napoleon or some horsemen from years past being like, let's study the neuroscience of, this relationship with, like, they just had a user mentality, right?
Well, for the most part, but that, what's the book called that was written by that Greek cavalry general? I always call it Exophon. That's how it's spelled in the Greek. but X doesn't mean X in that. But it was written in 400 BC, and it's a natural horsemanship manual that he wrote. And then the other thing is, Alexander the Great and Eusebius are well known for having a very intelligent, different type of relationship with their horse. Alexander the Great's father banned him for working with Eusebius because nobody else could ride it. Nobody could ride him. They decided he was unbreakable. And Alexander the Great figured out that what was going on was that horse was scared of his shadow. And so when he'd see a shadow, he would get frightened and buck people off. And I had a horse just the other day see a shadow and try to jump out from underneath me. And they don't all do that. That's a pretty rare thing that I've found. But it talks about in the stories of Alexander the Great that he turned his horse into the sun so he couldn't see a shadow and rode it and got him through the thing that was getting those guys in trouble. Can you imagine if you're riding around in a circle, every time you come around, the horse would get scared buck. Yeah. But Alexander the Great realized, and he turned and rode straight and got the horse covered. And then that horse has a city named after him. He's buried right beside Alexander the Great. And he was probably a lot like Swags.
He was probably a great big Andalusian.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really...
That's what is the horse's name. It means big head.
Does it really?
Yeah, it means like jughead or something. Or he's probably an ugly looking Mustang.
There's probably a lesson in that whole story. Have you unpacked that lesson yet? Or?
Not that I've used much. I used to read all those ancient heroic horse stories to the kids around the campfire.
Yeah.
There's a couple books out with a bunch of them. Famous war horses of history.
See, this is why, folks, this is why you need to come to Fiesta so you can sit around the campfire and have Scott read you horse stories.
Or do poetry.
Yeah. I might pull out a couple poems. Any closing thoughts or encouragements?
Encouragements?
Meaning to instill courage in others?
Think about that. I don't know. I'd tell you that I talked all weekend about not being fearless, but fearing less. That a lot of things are holding us back, and this was specifically for horsemen, but I always talk to everybody on that. And really, you don't have to be fearless. You just have to be less fear enough that you take the first step. Yeah. And that's called courage. That's when you do it, even when you're scared, even when you're fearful, that's courage. And we all have it. And us that are blessed with the cosmic lotto ticket of living here in America are usually fearful and scared of harmless things that are holding us back from our best.
Yeah.
So if I had to encourage somebody, I'd say step up.
Well, it's like one of those gals said, she was all nervous about starting a business and whatnot. And I think a lot of people don't. What I appreciate about Jim Rohn, right, is he have that, so many of his words of encouragement echoing in my mind when, he says the failure rate of people who never start a business is 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so funny when you look at it from that perspective, because everybody's like, they don't want to start because they're scared of failing. Well, if you don't ever start, you're guaranteed to fail.
Yeah. And you know what the success rate of those that don't quit is?
100%.
100%.
That's right.
Yeah. That's a cool thought, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that is encouraging. It's encouraging to me, especially going through, some valleys or tough seasons and some challenges in business is, the only people who fail are those who give up.
Yeah, they quit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you and your words of encouragement and the words of life that you've spoke over my life. And I'll be eternally grateful.
Right back at you.
I'm sure
it goes both ways.
I'm sure there's others in my life that appreciate it too, like Carrie and my kids.
Yeah. All good.
Love you.
Yep. Love you too, man.